Okay? Mishnah Yud. Next Mishnah. Bi'ur Mishnah Yud. The explanation for Mishnah Yud. Agala shel katan. A wagon for a baby, for a small child. Ha'asuya lo. Kedei she'ilmad lalechet. That they made for him so that he will learn how to walk. והקטן נשען עליה, והיא מתגלגלת לפניו. And the baby leans on it, and it rolls.
Like today.
Like today, yeah, like they have the wagons today. Very similar.
It's holding something
Like,
and walk.
like the thing for the old men,
Okay.
you know, that they walk. So, let's talk about impurity a little bit, because since we didn't learn, there's 3 major ways you can make something impure. If you're impure and you touch something, a food or a vessel, you make that something impure that by touching. Another thing is by lifting. Another one, I don't have to touch it. I can take this one. Right now I'm lifting this. The glasses, if I'm impure, even though I didn't touch the glasses, since I lifted it, the glasses became impure. Lifting something or moving something, even not directly. The fact that I lifted it, even without touching, can be 100 things over here. All of them becomes impure as I lift them. Although I'm only touching the bottom one. That's another way to transfer impurity. And there's another way to transfer impurity if I sit on something. The opposite way of lifting. If I sit on something or I lay down on something, yeah, it makes it impure. Okay. So this wagon that we just discussed, that the baby rolls in, Tme'am midras. It because he's leaning on it or laying on it, he can do, he's putting his weight on it, it becomes Tme'am midras. It becomes impure because somebody is leaning on it. Just like I said, if you sit on something or you lean on something, you may, even though it didn't move, it becomes impure. So if the baby was impure, or the child was impure, now this whole wagon becomes impure. Okay? If the child was a zav, was a condition of impurity, then he makes this wagon impure. Because if it's a zav, which is considered to be a father of tuma, not everything makes something else impure. Only fathers of tuma, right? He's going to, because he's a severe impurity, he's going to make impure anything that is specific for sitting, laying down, or riding it. And it makes that thing the same status as he is. It's that level. It's not a secondary status. It becomes as if you're touching the child. If he is laying on it, or sitting on it, or laying on it, or even leaning on it, and this is called impurity of laying. And since this is its purpose for the child to lean on, then this wagon becomes impure. Okay, what's it got to do with us? Yeah, so since we're talking about in the previous Mishnah, we were talking purity, we're going to continue purity over here, but it actually has something to do with us. Let's see how. V'nitelet b'Shabbat. Now, the question is it muktzeh on Shabbos? This thing, are you allowed to use it on Shabbos?
No.
Why? The baby is not allowed to use it. אופניים is not a problem. What's the problem with אופניים? There's nothing to להתקלקל over here. It's not like אופניים. אופניים, the chain may fall. Over here, there's nothing להתקלקל.
If I have אופניים בלי chain, it's okay.
Maybe we discuss it. Yeah, you have, maybe it's called carrying, maybe it's not called carrying. Let's put it this way. You know skating? No, not skating, that you wear them. You wear them. I don't know if you're not allowed to wear them on Shabbos to shul. It's not Shabbos dik, but halachically, maybe you're allowed to wear them on Shabbos to shul. Yeah, not a problem. Halachically. Now, it's a problem because it doesn't look good. That's another problem. But just halacha, what's the problem? Plain halacha, it's not a problem. Maybe. We'll see. V'nitelet b'Shabbat. שתורת כלי עליה, because it's a vessel. It's like a table, it's like a chair. In your house, you have table, you have chairs, you're allowed to move your table and chairs on Shabbos?
פאקליק הוא יכול לצאת לפאקליק?
No, in his house.
רק in his house?
Yeah. Palik not. Because it's carrying.
כן.
Yeah, dragging, whatever. Yeah. שתורת כלי עליה, ואינה מוקצה. Because it is a vessel. It's like a chair, it's like a table, it's like anything else. But it says, אינה נגררת. But here's a problem. You can't let him play with it in the house.
You can what?
Even though everything is kosher, it's Shabbos and Yom Tov, and you're not breaking Shabbos and Yom Tov, it looks like they don't let you let the child use it on Shabbat. It says, אינה נגררת. Even though it's a tool. Everything they said is true. You cannot let him play with it. Why? ואינה נגררת בשבת וביום טוב. You're not allowed to let him play with it on a Yom Tov or on Shabbat. Why? אלא על גבי כלים. Only if you have a rug in your house. You remember that we already stated that the floors were sand, were earth. Yeah. So we had already the machloket Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Shimon, if you remember. Rabbi Yehuda said, I think, you're not allowed to. Rabbi Shimon says you are allowed to because you don't have any intention. We're going to go, I think, over here, according to Rabbi Yehuda, that says you're not allowed to. So that's why it says you're not allowed to, because he's going to make marks. Ela al gabe kelim says you're only allowed to if you have a rug over there, or if you have something that is not going to make marks. Kelim means al gabe bgadim, kegon shtichim, for example, if you have carpets, אבל לא על גבי קרקע, but not on the floor, that the floor was earth, מפני שהוא עושה בחריץ, והרי הוא כחופר, because it is going to make a line on it, and he's a כחופר, and Rabbi Yehuda is going to stated already, even if you don't have the intention, I don't let you. Rabbi Shimon says, if you don't have the intention, you're allowed to do it, and that's the halacha. The halacha is like Rabbi Shimon. As long as you just want to move it, you don't want to make ditches, then it's fine, since you don't have the intention. Rabbi Yehuda says, כל הכלים אין נגררים. Rabbi Yehuda stated, look, we have a statement of Rabbi Yehuda. Because it might make a ditch, we don't let you do it. Even if you didn't have intentions, you just wanted to move the chair. Don't move the chair. He says, in other words, you want to move the chair, lift it up and put it down. You're not allowed to like this. Yeah? He says, כל הכלים אין נגררים. Says, all the vessels, you're not allowed to drag them. על גבי קרקע בשבת וביום טוב. And then it says, somebody says, חוץ מן העגלה. So we have in the beginning an opinion that says Rabbi Yehuda says you're not allowed to, and then Rabbi Yehuda says you're allowed to. But only, he doesn't allow you. Notice how he does it. He says you're not allowed to do it with the chair. You're only allowed to do it with this agala. What's so special about the agala? חוץ מן העגלה, שמותר לגררה על גבי ארצה. That you're allowed to put it on גבי ארצה. Why? And he's got a brilliant idea. He says, yeah, it's going to make a line. And I don't mind. Because it's not the same line as it is by a chair. Let's explain. By a chair, when you make a line, or by a table, when you drag it, what are you doing? You take the earth and you put it up. You move it to the sides. Over here in the agala, it has wheels. So what happens? Because it's heavy a little bit, it's going to make a dent in the sand. It says, but you're not removing the sand. All you're doing is you're pushing it down. Kovesh, you are pressing the sand. So even Rabbi Yehuda, that says you're not allowed to make a ditch on Shabbos, unintentionally even, he says, over here we're not making a ditch. All we're doing is pressing it down. And since it's pressing it down, you don't have intention. Even Rabbi Yehuda that says you're not allowed to, over here, he allows it.
Like almost you're walking on the grass.
Yeah. It's making it a little bit down. Yeah, nothing happens. Yeah. מפני שהיא כובשת את הקרקע ונעשה הפרה נמוך. All it does, it presses the sand. It doesn't remove it like זהו. אבל אינה מזיזה את העפר ממקומו. But it doesn't move the earth from its place. בגמרא מבואר, the Gemara says, שאפרי שעבדת רבי יהודה. It says, so it's both opinion according to Rabbi Yehuda. You're not allowed other things, and the agala you are allowed to. But over here, in the beginning, it says the Agala is not allowed to, and it says it's Rabbi Yehuda also. How can you have Rabbi Yehuda says Agala is, in the beginning says it's not allowed, and then it says it is allowed? How's that possible? So he says, "Hasover shedavar eino mitkaven asur." He says, so we learned already. Rabbi Yehuda says, if you don't have intention, even if you don't have intention, I'm not going to allow you to do it. Since you're making a ditch, even without intentions, you're not allowed to. אלא ששתי תנאים נחלקו משנתנו בשם רבי יהודה. But we have two other Tanaim that disagree about Agala at what Rabbi Yehuda said. One Tana said, Rabbi Yehuda said, you're allowed Agala, and one Tana says, you're not allowed this wagon. So one Tana says, they're arguing what Rabbi Yehuda says. התנא אחד אומר, the first Tana says, שלדעת רבי יהודה אין העגלה ניגרת אלא על גבי כלים. That according to Rabbi Yehuda, even the wagon is not dragged only on carpets. שהואיל והיא עושה חריץ, אסור לגררה על גבי הקרקע. Since it makes a ditch, you're not allowed to drag it. משום חופר, because you're digging. והתנא האחר אומר שלא עשה רבי יהודה בעגלה שקטן לגררה על גבי הקרקע. And the second Tana says, Rabbi Yehuda never said that. Bipnei what? Because Rabbi Yehuda has a distinction between kovesh, between pressing and making a ditch. וכבר הזכרנו, but for us it doesn't matter. For us we're allowed to, even a table, even a chair, even anything. שאין הלכה כרבי יהודה אלא כרבי שמעון. We already established that the law is like רבי שמעון and not like רבי יהודה. האומר גורר אדם מיטה, כיסא וספסל בשבת. He says you're allowed to drag. ובלבד שלא התכוון לעשות חריץ. As long as you don't mean to make the ditch, you're fine. You're not using it for the thing, you're just moving it down.